There we go. This is a new technology, and I'm a bit excited about giving it a shot, giving it a try. My name is Paul Sotheby. I've been a Christian for quite a long time, and I'm going to tell you some stories about my journey and what it's been like. If you're interested, stay tuned. If not, that's okay. But I felt it was important for me to record things that have taken place in my life and just share them. I'll probably be putting these on YouTube. This is a little interesting because I'm actually doing this live right now. I'm copying it as I speak directly to the iPhone, and then we'll be uploading it later to my YouTube channel. But this is one way for me just to reach out to people that I don't necessarily know and just share a little bit about what I've seen, what I've observed, and so let's get started. I would say that years ago I felt really drawn into perhaps being a minister, and I just didn't want to do it. And so now, years later, I'm feeling like an undercover or being called out of being made active, shall we say. All of a sudden, I've been through a lot of experiences, I've done a lot of different things, and I feel like now I'm active, that God's kind of activating me to just get out there and try some things and to just kind of share my journey and everything. So when I was many years ago, I just really felt like a calling, like a leading, like I was supposed to get in the ministry. But at that particular time, I was extremely shy. I'd done things that I was embarrassed about, maybe ashamed of. Things had happened in my life that I didn't, it was just like this insecurity was all over me, and I just felt like God was like pulling me towards him, but it was like, where's this going to go? I looked around and I saw people that had that were Christians, that were pastors, and their particular lifestyle just didn't really thrill me, didn't impress me, and I'm not sure I really wanted to be like them. And and also it was just like I was so devastated in some parts of my life because of things that had happened to me that I just couldn't see. One of the things that went through my mind is who would listen to me, and I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say, so who would listen to me? I'd rather go out and make a lot of money and, accomplish something for God that way, by making money and doing something in my life in that way. So my pursuit, so I just kind of like, no, I don't want to do that. I feel a pulling in that direction. I don't know what that means, but I'm not going to do that. And so I said, I want to be rich. I want to go out there and make a lot of money and just, see God, prosperity, see things happen that, just are amazing. So that was kind of where I started my journey. And, and so here I am years later. And I actually do have something to say now. I actually do have something that I'd like to share, some experiences. I do have some, I've been in the Christianity for quite a while, and I do have some things, some perspectives. Maybe they're not all correct, but over a period of time, I want to share those perspectives and share those ideas and those thoughts that have happened, throughout the years. And at the very least, I'd like to share some of the signposts that have happened in my life that have convinced me that there is a God. Now, do I actually understand him completely? Of course not. I mean, anybody, in my opinion, who says that they completely understand God doesn't know what they're talking about, because he's just so enormous and big that and what he's doing, it's almost like, from my perspective, this is just me, it's like God plays hide and seek. Or look at it another way, he's a card player, and he's a masterful card player, and he's like he doesn't show his complete hand to anyone. anyone throughout history doesn't have the complete hand of what in the world God's doing. So when you look at, when I was looking at my own life, like, God, what are you doing with me? This stuff doesn't make sense. But along the way, God gave me some signposts that convinced me, okay, there is a God. I may not understand him. He is the God of the Bible, because he showed me through the Bible and through personal experiences that this stuff is real. So it's like, well, it's time for me to just start sharing those, and maybe it'll help people, maybe it won't help people, but at least, the seeds that God has individually given to me, I can share with other people. These broadcasts, I don't know how long they're going to go, because I actually have a keyboard in front of me right now, and I like to sing and worship and stuff. I'm not an accomplished musician, but I love to do that, so I might sing a little bit too in this. So let me tell you about where kind of this started. You see, if you haven't read the Bible, okay, you may not be able to relate to what I'm about to say. And it may sound like really maybe spooky or weird. But anyways, I go to a church that actually believes in spiritual aspects of God, and that spiritually God can actually speak to a person's spirit and actually communicate. It's not just religion. It's not just do's and don'ts. It's not just morality. No. This is, and if you read the New Testament, like one place you might want to start is, if you haven't read the Bible, go to Luke, read Luke, then read Acts, okay? And you can read John in there, but you're going to get a feeling for the spirituality and the amazing things that the Holy Spirit was doing back then. And some people in some Christian circles, they feel that stopped in the New Testament. That was it. I'm here to tell you that I don't think so. I think, God is still moving by his Spirit. And let me just give you one example of how God actually moved in my life in an unusual way. So, I go to a church in San Jose. I've been going there for about 24 years. It's Jubilee Christian Center. Pastor Dick Burnell is the senior pastor, great man, really a tremendous church. I mean, this church, I'll just briefly tell you just one of the things that really inspired me at this church, is the level of diversity in the church. I've never seen anything like it before. I mean, you have Koreans, you have Japanese, you have Filipino, you have blacks, you have whites, you have Indians from India. I mean, just about, it's like this huge culture mix. And when I saw this for the first time, I thought to myself, this is the way it should be. This is what heaven's going to be like. It just made sense to me. I didn't know how it was happening, because a lot of churches are not that way. Very unusual church. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, it's jubilee.org. You can go there, learn about that. Anyways, so they believe that God is still moving by their Spirit. Pastor Burnell feels that way. His wife, Carla, feels that way. And so one day, let me preface this with telling you a little bit about where I was mentally. I was really kind of, here I am. I'm 59 years old, and I thought to myself, I've lived most of my life. I've had a job. I've been, had a measure of success for which I am very, very grateful. I'm very grateful to the companies that I've worked for the opportunities to work for them. But I was just really feeling sad, because I realized that I've done very, very little to really touch people for the Lord. I mean, I just hardly, I do my job, I come home, live a normal life, but really haven't talked to much of anybody about the Lord, about, what he's done in my life or anything. And I didn't honestly know what to say. What do you tell these people? I mean, people don't want to argue religion and what's right, what's wrong. I mean, a lot of people don't care. Okay, but if you have an experience that helps you to think through a philosophy or helps you to see things from a spiritual perspective, people might listen. And that's my hope, that you might listen to some of the things that I have to say. So anyways, I'm feeling really, really bad because, like, God, man, you know, there was a young man many years ago, and there was a group of us young men, and we were just getting involved with this new church. It was kind of a charismatic type church. I won't go into that right now. Just trust me. And one of these wanted to become a pastor, and I looked at him. And forgive me, but, you know, my attitude has not always been all that great, and I think, you know, I probably have some more attitudes to change. But I looked at him and he was pursuing God, and I said, man, you know, I'm going to try and be rich. Okay, you go pursue God. That's cool, but I want to go out and do something with my life, because I looked at pastors and they didn't seem to have a lifestyle that was much different than a lot of the people in the world. I wanted to do something big with my life, whatever. Okay, so that's kind of been my journey. But anyways, you know, I come back years later and I'm looking at him and I'm going, oh my God, he's the pastor of a church. He's influenced maybe thousands of people. He's gone forth getting different kinds of theological degrees and everything. And what did you do, Paul? Well, you were out there trying to be rich. You were out there trying to make a lot of money, doing businesses, doing whatever. And, you know, what did you really do for the Lord? Did you do anything? Well, I acted a little. I did a little singing in a choir. You know, I was an usher. I did a little something, but what did God do in your life that you've actually shared with other people? What did you do? I mean, what has he done for you that you are actually promoting, that you're sharing? And I'm just thinking, God, what have I done for me? I mean, the most important thing that we can bring with us to heaven, there is no other more important thing than to bring people with you. People are the most important object, the most important beings, and the most important thing that you can bring with you to heaven. You can't bring riches, you can't bring money, you can't bring anything else, but you can bring people. And I was thinking, I got no people. Have I influenced anybody to serve the Lord? Anyone? And I was just walking around for about a week or two just thinking, God, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything for you. I was just really feeling a burden and just really, really feeling sad. Like, what have you done for the last, you know, just about 30, 40 years, whatever. And it's just like, wow. And so at this, I was even in the bathroom thinking about this at the church, at Jubilee Christian Center. And I was just going, wow, what have I done? Is there anyone that's actually going to go to heaven because of something I said, because of something I did? Perhaps I don't necessarily know about him, but I felt like there was more that I should do. So I went into the church service. And I was just thinking, like, what have I done? And Pastor Burnell had a very unusual service. He said, now this is where it gets perhaps a little weird for some of you, but remember, we're talking about the Holy Spirit. We're talking about spiritual things. We're talking about the New Testament. Okay, this is not just do's and don'ts. This is not just religion. This is just not some form of religion denying the power of it. Okay, the Holy Spirit is alive. He's active in this world now. And this is what he did for me in that service. Okay, so I go to the service, and Pastor Burnell gets up to in front of the congregation, and he says, you know, every day I go for a walk. And I noticed some acorns on the ground on my walk. And he felt like the Lord said to him, tell Paul that it all starts with a seed. Now, Pastor Brunel is saying this up in front of the congregation. Then what he says, I want all the Pauls to come forward and I'm going to pray with you. So I'm one of the Pauls. So I go forward. I go, man, is God talking to my pastor about how I'm feeling right now? And he's telling me it all starts with a seed? What does that mean? What does that mean? So I go up forward. Now there are two services in our church. There's the first service at 9 o'clock. There's a second service at 11:15. So I was at the 11:15 service, and there were a bunch of us Pauls that were all up there. And he started praying, and he said a few other things. I don't exactly remember everything he said, but what he said is it all starts with a seed. And what in the world does that mean? So I go back to my seat. There are tears in my eyes because I felt like God was speaking to me about something that I was feeling in my heart, and I was feeling very, very strong. I was feeling very strongly about it, and about not really doing anything to help anybody, to make a difference. But I didn't know what it meant. And I'm back in my, I'm back at my seat in the congregation, and I'm saying, God, it'd really be cool. I'm saying to myself, talking to God, thinking, it'd really be cool if I had another seed as confirmation. Now, if you don't know the Bible, you know that in the Old Testament, in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, everything was confirmed. And, you couldn't sentence somebody to death in the Old Testament unless there were 2 or 3 witnesses to show that, this person actually did whatever. It's a principle in the Bible. It is seen in the New Testament too, where you need more than one witness to verify things. So I'm kind of sitting there, God, man, it sure would be neat if I had another seed like this, to confirm that this word was really for me. And Pastor Burnell, what he does is he has some extra seeds, and he starts throwing them out to the congregation. And it hits somebody in front of me, and it falls right down by my foot. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going, is anybody going to grab this? Does anybody see the significance of what's going on here besides me? And I looked at it, and I was just waiting for somebody to grab it. I said, I'm grabbing it. I reached down and grabbed it. And I said, this is confirmation that this word was for me. I got 2 witnesses, the first of what Pastor was saying, and then I got my other seed. I know this sounds a little bit bizarre, perhaps, but, God works in these supernatural, unusual types of ways. And I felt like God was really speaking to me. But you know what? I didn't know what he was saying. I didn't know. What in the world are you talking about? What's a seed? Okay, it all starts with a seed. Well, I started thinking about this stuff. And you know what's amazing about a seed is there's life inside of a seed. And it can bring forth, it can bud and a tree. It's amazing. I think a seed is absolutely amazing because I don't think life, as far as I know, has ever been duplicated. I don't think anybody has been able to recreate a seed, that brings forth life. You might be able to take different seeds and make another seed out of that, but to actually have life come out of that seed. So I'm going, okay, God, what am I supposed to do with this? And I would say maybe a week or 2 later, it just hit me. It hit me. Years ago, I thought I had nothing to say. I mean, who would even listen to me? And then I thought about all the things that God has done in my life over the years. And I thought, that's my seed. That is the individual seed that God has given to me that has convinced me that he's alive and that the God of the Bible is real. And so that is what I want to share with you. Some of these signposts, I mean, they're wild. You know, so that's the journey that I'm going to be going on with you. I wanted to record the things that God has done in my life for others, and just, you know, see where this goes. Hopefully it'll make a difference. But let's start out right there with the seed, and let's leave it at that. God bless you. Stay tuned. Further things are coming. My name is Paul Southerby. That's Southerby, and I'm going to be posting this to YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel if you want. I'm just going to start telling you about all the different things that have convinced me that God is there, that He's alive, that He's real. Now, I don't understand all the things that have taken place in my life. I don't understand. I can't give you a complete picture of it. I don't think anyone can. But I can tell you this. I believe He does exist. God bless you. Talk to you later.